Look at the number of women standing there fawning all over him, my assistant and best friend since grade school said, her head shaking as she pointed a finger at my arch nemesis across the room. I'm actually embarrassed to be female right now. I pushed her arm down before he noticed and did something mortifying in response, like inform the entire room that I was in love with him or something. I wouldn't put it past him. James Russo loved to embarrass and humiliate me. He'd been doing it since high school. Janine, don't draw his attention toward us, and I don't want to look at him or his fan club. I groaned, even though it was a lie, and she damn well knew it. James Russo had grown up to be one hell of a gorgeous man, and I absolutely wanted to check him out, maybe even lose myself in a dirty fantasy or two. But I couldn't admit that part, at least not out loud. I was supposed to loathe his very existence. Despising James was as much a part of my DNA as my dark hair and Italian heritage. You totally want to look at him, she teased. Maybe then you'll see how often he looks at you. Pivoting on my brand new high heel, I turned to face my soon-to-be former best friend if she didn't pull it together. James Russo does not look at me any more than I look at him. We hate each other, and you know this. You've always known this. He is the world's worst human. If there were an award for it, he'd win. Why are you being so weird? Are you drunk? I glanced around at our stash of wine bottles still firmly in place on the ground, checking to make sure none were empty. If anyone knew how much James and I couldn't stand one another, it was Janine. She had grown up with the two of us, had been fully aware of our family's mutual war, and had been caught in the middle of it on more than one occasion. While she sometimes placated me with subtle jabs and insults in James's honor, she usually played the role of peacekeeper, or at least she tried. I just wonder when you two will bury the hatchet is all, she said for like the 14,000th time since we'd been born. Never, I said, giving her the exact same response that I always had. Burying the hatchet wasn't an option in my family. Even if I wanted to, which I didn't, it wasn't allowed. My dad would disown me completely and make me change my last name before he ever forgave a Russo. Glancing across the competition space, I spotted James, his dark hair framing his 2-week-old stubble as he smiled at a group of women who, instead of working their own wine booths, looked all too willing to leave and take him to bed if he asked. Not that I cared what James did in his bed or with whom, but damn that facial hair. It would be the death of me. I'd spent one too many nights dreaming of the way it would feel as he dived between my thighs or as he kissed me, brushing across my cheek. That man sure knew how to keep his beard in check, always perfectly trimmed, fading just right toward the top where it met his hairline. It annoyed me as much as it turned me on, which was saying a lot since he was the most annoying human in existence. You've got a little drool right there. Janine nudged me with her arm, pointing at the corner of her mouth, and I snarled. I'm just wondering why he keeps coming to these things when he knows he's going to lose. Do you think he comes to meet women? I reached for a case of our wine and started pulling out the bottles one at a time so Janine could uncork them and fill the waiting glasses. She laughed so hard at my question that she choked. Like he needs to come here to meet women. Besides, the only woman he wants is you. Why do you think he's never stayed in a long-term relationship before? Probably for the same reason all yours have failed. My eyes felt like they bugged straight out of my head and rolled onto the floor under the table. What are you even talking about right now? I looked at my best friend like she had grown 2 heads. My relationships don't fail, I said a little too defensively. I mean, it's not my fault that every guy I've dated seems to be more interested in my winery than they are in me. You don't even give them a chance. They're out of the running before they even start the race. One wrong word and you cut them off, deem them unworthy. And we both know it's because you want the one guy you can't have. You're just too stubborn or scared to admit it.